What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight UK Season 10, Season 7, Episode 10. So this was the week of the dinner party. So let's get started. First, we see Laura and Richie. They're getting ready for the dinner party. No, they're not getting ready. They're having an argument. Something happened, something really drastic happened. So we find out that during intimacy, so I guess they consummated their marriage, a problem came up. So during their intimacy moment, Laura was telling Richie what she liked, what she didn't like, what she preferred, what she didn't prefer. And Richie took offense to this because he saw this as her talking about or bringing into their moment her previous sexual experiences with other people, because she was telling him what she liked or what she didn't like. I don't know. I feel like we're missing a big chunk of exactly what happened and what was said, because it made no sense to me. That this woman is telling you what she prefers or doesn't prefer, and he took it as you're bringing up your past sexual history during our private moment. Like, I don't understand. Unless she specifically said, oh, Jason used to do this and that to me and I liked it and I want you to do what Jason did. Like, I don't understand why this would have been so offensive. So why he would be so offended by her just telling him what she liked or didn't like, unless he felt inadequate. And then he's sort of like deflecting to, oh, she's bringing up her past. I don't know. I didn't understand any of this. So during their moment, he gets up and he left the room, and they didn't spend the night together. He slept somewhere else in another room. So Richie says that he's not going to be criticized by someone shouting at him. So when he said that, I was like, oh, okay. So maybe when she was directing him to do the things that she liked, she wasn't very nice about it. Maybe that she was acting frustrated with him. Maybe raising her voice at him because he wasn't doing something right. And so he felt I'm assuming that's what it was. I don't know. Let's put them to the side. Let's move on to Shanita and Jordan. So, as we're getting ready for the dinner party, Shanita explains to us that she had heard from April that Thomas had been talking about her behind her back. He called her a snake and telling her how much, he called her a snake and he called her some other choice words, I'm assuming. And Shanita was like, okay, he's talking about me behind my back, but then to my face, he's telling me how much he loves me, how much he adores me, acting like he's my best friend, but he's talking about me behind my back. So Shanita wants to get to the bottom of it. So she wants to confront Thomas at the dinner party. Now, Thomas, he's ready for war. He's ready for combat. He says that he said nothing about Shanita, that it's actually April who was talking about Shanita, calling her names, and that he said nothing bad or negative about Shanita. And so he's ready to defend himself, and he's ready for anything. April, okay, the third party to this drama, well, surprise, surprise, she's not even going to the dinner party to be confronted or to confront because she's not feeling well. So she's going to be staying home. What a coincidence. How convenient that you started not feeling well on the night that Thomas was about to tear you into shreds. So George will be going to the dinner party alone. Now let's get to the damn dinner party. So the first two couples that arrive are Thomas and Adrian, Shanita and Jordan. So this was extremely awkward. Obviously, the producers did this on purpose. So they kind of touch on it a little bit about the drama with April, but Thomas tells Shanita that they'll talk one-on-one later. He doesn't want to get into it right away. George arrives by himself without April. And then slowly everybody else begins to arrive. So Thomas is showing off his vegan leather boots to the people, and Zoe was there. And when he talked about how his boots were vegan, Zoe just kind of scoffed at it and rolled her eyes. Like, this, like, she's like thinking to herself, oh my God, now they have vegan clothes. Like, when is this going to end? So the April Thomas Shanita drama is like brewing right beneath the surface at the dinner party. Okay, like the issue is like right there, but nobody really wants to address it. April is not there to say one way or the other, so this is going to be, it's going to be a big mess. So Richie, he shows up by himself without Laura. And the experts, because the experts are watching this remotely, and they see Richie walk in alone, and they say that he looks lost. He looks absolutely lost without Laura. I think somebody asked him, like, where's Laura? And he was like, oh, she's not feeling well, or she'll come. I don't know what he said, but they were asking him, is everything okay? And he says, I've been alone 50 years, so, why wouldn't everything be okay? I'm fine. I'm used to being alone. Acting really tough, really macho about not being there about being there without Laura. Richie tells Zoe that they needed space and that's why they came separately, and says that Laura tends to go. This is what he said about his own wife, right? He said that she tends to go nuts. Laura tends to go nuts, and she refuses to talk about their issues. This is the picture that he paints of Laura. Then Keisha and Kwame enter. And man, do they make an entrance, okay? Keisha had on a full-bodied black leather S&M catsuit type of an outfit with the boots. The only thing missing was the damn whip and the little the little mask. She came out full like S&M gear. Her braids were piled up high. She had a high ponytail, black leather top to bottom. The back was like straps going across her back, so you could see her back. The outfit was great, but I was like, girl, what message? What is this? What's going on here? Like, I guess I felt like she was trying to give Kwame a message that she is not ashamed of her sexuality. She's not ashamed of being the beautiful sex goddess that she is. He is not going to make her hide who she really is. She's not going to turn into some demure little conservative librarian because he doesn't want to explore their sexual side. She's like, this is who I am. This is what it is. Take it or leave it, honey. And so she made a very bold statement. When she walked in, everybody's mouth just dropped open. They couldn't believe it. And poor PJ, he nearly fell off the couch when he saw Keisha walk in. So, I said S&M. I meant dominatrix. Is that the same thing? I don't know. So Whitney and Duca, they walk in together, which was, I think people clapped when they walked in together because it showed that, that they were walking in together as a team, that they were, it seemed like things were going great for them. So it was nice to see Whitney and Duca walk in together. Then Laura arrives. She arrives by herself. And when Richie sees her, and, they hug, they were decent enough to give each other a hug. And when she hugged Richie, he completely melted in her arms. Like, he missed his woman so much, even though before he was talking really tough about, I've been alone 50 years. I don't need anybody by my side. But when his woman walked in, he completely melted. Laura says that she feels uncomfortable being there with Richie after their fight. Richie also feels terribly uncomfortable because they have unresolved issues. Whatever issue they had the night before has not been resolved. And now they have to put up a front that everything is okay. So then the dinner starts. Thomas looks like a volcano that's about to erupt. Thomas looks like he is just chomping at the bit. He's completely uncomfortable. His face, his gestures, everything is screaming out, that he's about to go off at any minute. Adrian can only control him, so much. So as Adrian is trying to talk him off the ledge and try to get him to calm down, Thomas tells him to leave me alone. So then they have to do this honesty box thing where they have to ask questions to their partner and their partner has to answer honestly. So Duca is the first one and he's asking Whitney, what do you like or admire about me? And Whitney says that she's not used to a man who is like the center of attention, who can command a room. She's not used to that. She's used to a more quiet man. But the thing that bothered her the most about Duca is turning into something that she actually likes about him. Now she likes the fact that he can command a room, that he just has a way of having all eyes on him. Now she thinks that it's something admirable. Then it's PJ's turn, and he asks Jess, do you think we can move beyond friendship? And Jess thinks about it for a while. She takes a while to answer, and she finally says, well, if I'm speaking honestly, no. She says we have a really good friendship, and she doesn't just have that desire to like rip his clothes off and get into bed with him. And because she doesn't have that desire, she doesn't really see them moving past being friends. And PJ showers her with compliments. He's like, I think you're amazing. I think you're beautiful. I think you're great. You're this, you're that. Just showers her with compliments and tells her that he's always going to be there for her. And he just wants her to be happy. And if she's happy, then he's happy. And I'm like, what a great guy. This woman is not gonna, maybe he doesn't feel the same. Maybe he really doesn't feel the same for her either. And that's why whenever she tells him, I don't see you in a romantic way, it's only going to be friendship between us, maybe the reason why that he can take it in stride is because maybe he really doesn't feel all that romantic towards her. I don't know. Either that or he's a saint. That a woman that you love, not love, that a woman that you are very much attracted to, and you want to be more than just friends with her. You desperately want to be more than just friends with her. She keeps telling you that I only will see you as a friend. I feel no romantic connection with you at all. And you just take it in stride and you're like, well, I'm just going to have to work harder. I still have hope for us. I think you're wonderful. I think you're beautiful. I'll do anything for you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, either he's a saint or he's BSing us. I don't know which one. Then it goes to Jenna. And Jenna asks Zoe, how good do you think I am at compromising? And Zoe says, your compromising skills need some work. And Zoe says, I've done more compromising than you. And Jenna's like, how exactly? And Zoe says, I've eaten more vegan meals in the past week than I've ever eaten in my whole entire life. And Jenna says, well, that's only because I was the one that cooked. And then Jenna also says, so eating a couple of vegan meals means that you've compromised more than me. And that's like a massive compromise because you've eaten a couple of more vegan meals than you've ever had in your life. And Zoe was like, yeah, it is a massive compromise. Zoe says that Jenna has been blind to all the changes that she has made. I don't know what those changes are other than eating a few vegan meals. Jenna says that Zoe has never taken the interest to find out exactly why she's vegan. She just completely wrote it off as, that's something that I would never do. I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't want to live like that. But she never took the time to ask Jenna what drove her into veganism. Zoe gets frustrated and she leaves the table and she doesn't want to talk to anybody. Jenna got up to follow her, wanted to try to have a conversation with her in private. Zoe wasn't ready. She just kind of shooed Jenna away, like, I don't want to talk to you right now. And I'm like, what is the deal with Zoe? Why is she taking this vegan thing completely out of pocket like this? Because, like I said, I have not seen Jenna trying to force her lifestyle on Zoe. Is the problem that they can only make one meal and it's just easier to make a vegan meal because Zoe can eat vegan, whereas Jenna cannot eat meat at all? Is it because when they prepare dinner, they can only make one meal and it has to be a vegan meal? Is that what Zoe means, that she's compromised a whole lot more than Jenna has because they can't make two separate meals? I don't understand. I don't get it. So then Thomas asks Adrian, what one thing would you change about me and why? And this is where it got real, sentimental. Adrian says, I would change the situations in your life that have led you to your defenses. Thomas says, I respect you. You've listened and you've heard me, and I love you as a person. I care about you and you mean the world to me. So the experts loved how Adrian was able to see through all the drama, able to see through all the antics of Thomas. Adrian was able to see through all of that and see and know and understand that something happened in Thomas's life that has made him the way that he is. He's gone through something traumatic, something painful that has caused him to be so defensive all the time. And Adrian only wants to go back in time and to take away the things that had hurt Thomas and that made him to who he is today. And that was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful, because somebody who was not thinking as deeply would have just written him off as being, oh, you're just too much. I would change you being so dramatic. Somebody, who didn't know any better would probably say something like that. Oh, I would change your antics. You're too dramatic for me. You're full of drama. You're too much of a drama queen. That's what I would change. But instead, he got deeper, and he goes, I will go back in time and take away the things and take away the pain that made you the way that you are today. I mean, Thomas, if you mess this up with a man like Adrian, then I feel really, really bad, because I don't think that you're going to get anybody as patient, as thoughtful, as deep as Adrian. Moving on from there. Richie asks Laura, how much of a future do you see for this marriage long term? And Laura says that she cannot answer that right now because they have a lot of unresolved issues. She says that they haven't even talked about what happened the night before. So until they can get through that, she can't really give an answer. Zoe then comes back. Jenna was like, she tells Zoe that she didn't appreciate how Zoe just kind of shooed her away when she tried to talk to her after she left the dinner table. And Zoe says that she just needed a minute. She just needed time alone. Back to the honesty box. Shanita asks Jordan, how would you rate our match? And Jordan says, I would rate it an 8. And Shanita was like, wow, that's pretty damn high. So then Jordan asks Shanita, what obstacles do you feel we need to overcome? And Shanita says, well, sometimes you don't really think about what you're doing. And you've lived alone for a very long time, and it really shows, and that worries me. And Jordan says that he's aware of that, and he is trying to change. And so the group says that Jordan acts like a nervous little puppy, because there's something about him that's a little bit boyish and lack of confidence. And like there's like a nervousness about him all the time that is kind of palpable. And Shanita says, okay, he may act like a nervous puppy, and that's cute, but sometimes you need a Rottweiler. So she needs him to man up, and she needs him to be more confident in himself. And she needs him to be more thoughtful in the things that he says and the things that he does. Then we get to Keisha and Kwame. Keisha asks Kwame, why do you think we haven't been intimate yet? And Kwame says, and this is where I got confused. This interaction between Keisha and Kwame went completely over my head. And I admit, I was too ignorant to really understand what the hell was going on. So Keisha asks, why do you think we haven't been intimate yet? Kwame says it's because of me. He says, there are women who wear their sexuality on their sleeve, their sexual heart, he says, who wear their sexual heart on their sleeve. And there are women that you really try to make a connection with and really try to commit to, or something like that. So when he said that there are women who wear their sexual heart on their sleeve, obviously he's referring to Keisha. And he compares that to women who you really want to make a connection with. So I guess he was trying to say that there are women who are just good for a good time. And that's where he puts the category that he puts Keisha in. And then there are women who you want something deeper with. I'm assuming that's what he was trying to say. He says that, sex is easy. You can get sex from anybody, anywhere, anytime. But he wants something a little bit more complicated than that. Keisha is offended, and she says that she's a sexual being and that he can't take all the credit for them not having sex. And it's just not him that's preventing the intimacy. And I'm like, then who else is it? Because you want it to happen. You want to be intimate with him. You've been wanting to be intimate with him since you got married, since the wedding ceremony. So when she was implying that it's just not him that doesn't want to, I'm like, I got confused, because she has made it very plainly obvious that she wants to jump into the sack with him ASAP. I don't know. Moving on to Shanita and Thomas. So Shanita and Thomas finally have a conversation. Thomas tells her that it wasn't that it was April. It wasn't him. It was April that called her a bitch and said that she was feeding information outside the group. So while they're having a conversation, Jordan, Shanita's husband, and George, April's husband, joined them. And so it gets too much for Thomas. He just wanted to talk to Shanita alone. He didn't need the peanut gallery to join in. So he's just trying to have a conversation with Shanita. He doesn't want to hear nothing from, he says, I don't want to hear nothing from you, Jordan. No, he says, I don't want to hear nothing from you, George, if you're just going to be up here defending your wife, April, and you were not there. You don't know the conversation that took place. You don't know what the hell happened. You're just going to listen to your wife and take her side and go with that. Then I don't want to hear nothing that you have to say. So then so Thomas gets up and he walks away from them. Later on, George finds Thomas and tells him that April is not there to defend herself. So just stop with the gossip. Stop talking about it if all the parties that were involved are not all there. Thomas says that he has every right to talk about it. He has every right to defend himself because it was his name that was dragged through the mud. It was his name that was brought up. Somebody lied on him, and he has every right to talk about it whenever he wants to talk about it with whoever he wants to talk about it with, because his reputation is at stake, and he's here to defend his reputation. And if April's not there, that's not his problem. He can pick any time, any place to defend himself, to defend his honor, to defend his name. And that's where the episode ended. I cannot wait to get April's side of the story. And I'm beginning to think, the more I think about it, that maybe I can definitely see Thomas saying things about Shanita. And the fact that Thomas is so defensive and he feels like he has to defend himself, and he's so like aggressive about this, it kind of makes me think that it was Thomas that says some stuff about Shanita, because Thomas can definitely go there. Even though Shanita has not done anything to him, if Thomas feels like he wants to talk about you, he's going to talk about you. And I just don't see any reason why April would say anything bad about Shanita, because April doesn't come across as someone who would just say anything willy-nilly about someone. But Thomas does. Thomas is like the kind of person who wants to read someone, who wants to drag someone, who wants to throw shade at someone. He seems like someone who would want to do that, who has done that, because Whitney did nothing to him, but he had a lot to say about Whitney and her personality and how she was treating her husband. I don't know, but hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it soon. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.